Hi everyone. In week 2 of our COM 170 course, we're going to begin working on the first project, which is the critique essay. Now, the critique essay will span multiple weeks. We'll be completing it through a number of assignments, which will begin right now in week 2, and the final critique essay, the culmination of all the work, will be turned in by the end of week 5. In this video, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to walk you through the process of completing the critique essay, and I'm going to be commenting on the first assignment, which is pre-drafting assignment 1. So let's begin with an overview of this critique essay, which we'll be doing. And if you go to course projects here on our home page, you'll find the critique essay listed. And as you can see, it spans multiple weeks, beginning in Unit 2, Week 2, and completed by the end of Week 5. As you can see, this is broken down into a number of steps which we will be completing. We begin with pre-drafting assignment 1, which involves choosing a source as the first step. Now, for this project, we will all be working on the same source. For project 2, you will be given options to choose from, but for project 1, we're all working on the same source, and this source can be found in the announcements and also in the assignment template. You will then be asked to complete a number of academic honesty tasks, which involves familiarizing yourself with the commitments and signing off on 2 commitments. These commitments can be found in the template provided to you. You will then be asked to produce a reverse outline of the article that you've been assigned. A reverse outline involves reading your article very closely, trying to understand what the author has achieved in each of the paragraphs, and then ultimately reducing those aims to 4 to 6 bullet points. So, for instance, you might realize that the first half of the article, paragraphs 1 to 10, for instance, involve providing some background information on the topic at hand. So then you will reduce those paragraphs to a single bullet saying the author begins the article by providing some background on X, Y, and Z. You will need to do this for the entire article, and the reverse outline will need to be produced in the pre-drafting assignment template. Once you've broken down the article and realized what the source is, what the author is trying to do, what the thesis is, how the argument is constructed, you will need to demonstrate your understanding by producing a summary of the article. Please note that the summary you are required to produce must be color-coded, so follow the instructions shared with you in the assignment template. This is the work that you will be completing during Unit 2. Next week, in Week 3, you will be asked to produce an outline of your response and to write a draft of your response. This is an early draft. It is not so firm when it comes to the word count, the word limit, but you still need to produce some kind of draft showing the type of ideas that you have regarding the article and whether or not you deem it to be effective or not. Week 4, you will once again be asked to complete some academic integrity tasks, and you will be exchanging feedback in the form of peer review. Finally, With the feedback that you receive from me and from your peers, you will be asked to revise your draft and finalize and submit the final version by the end of week 5. So now that we've gained a better understanding of what tasks we need to complete, let's go to the template that I was telling you about. This is the template for pre-drafting assignment 1. You begin by signing off on the 2 academic honesty statements here and here. Please make sure you sign and date both statements. So pay attention to the highlighted parts. If you fail to sign and date any of these 2 statements, the assignment will be returned to you and you may be marked late in subsequent submissions. Next, you are introduced to the source article. You can find this on the second page. You don't really need to do anything there. Step 3, you need to develop a thesis statement. This thesis statement must be summarized in 1 sentence, and it should begin with the article aims or seeks to. So essentially, if you were to summarize what the author has attempted to do through this article in 1 brief statement, how would you verbalize it? How would you state it? Try to reduce this to a single statement. The next step is to produce your reverse outline. Again, read your article multiple times. Producing a reverse outline requires a sound understanding of the source, which isn't possible to achieve through a single one-time reading of the source. Rather, I recommend reading the source, getting a general understanding what the author is trying to say, and then reading it again more than once in order to examine the precise aims that the author has sought to achieve in each of the paragraphs. Finally, I would like you to present your outline of what the author has really done and achieved through the article in between 4 to 6 bullet points. This will help you later write your summary. In the 5th step of the process, you need to identify some rhetorical context. You need to provide some rhetorical context and identify some rhetorical features of the article, such as the title and the author, which are easy to identify, the exact publication date, the publisher, the issue, that is, the question in response to which the author has written this article, and finally, reiterate the thesis statement. This could be this very same statement that you produced in the previous section. Finally, you need to write a summary of the source article. So the summary has to be written in a very specific style. First of all, in terms of its length, it has to be between 10 to 15% the length of the original source article. So for instance, if the article is 1,000 words, then the summary you write should be between 100 to 150 words in length. You also need to color code your summary in the following way. You must begin by introducing the source article and the rhetorical context that you previously identified. This will be highlighted in yellow. Then you need to frame the author's thesis at the very beginning, right? Like following the contextual details, immediately disclose what the author's thesis is and highlight this section in green. And finally, use the reverse outline that you produced to give your readers an understanding of how the author's argument is constructed. Copy your summary in the exact manner described here and highlighted in the color coding scheme that I just explained on this final page of the document, and submit your work by the end of the week. I hope this gives you a good understanding of what you're expected to do and I look forward to receiving your responses. Good luck.